Well, we've been pretty good with our ball security all year long. And when you got guards like Isaiah and Tyler and Jamal out there handling the ball, turnovers haven't been much of a concern for us this year because we're a hard team to press in that way and create turnovers. And really, when we get a little bit, we try to start pressing a little bit offensively is when we'll turn the ball over ourselves. But for the most part, we've been good handling the ball all year.
What's led to that shift in defensive intensity that we've seen over the past?
Just a renewed focus on it in practice. We just talked about getting back to our roots if we wanted to change kind of the direction we were headed, especially coming out of that Auburn game. You know, there was kind of a renewed sense of focus and a sense of urgency placed back on defense because that's where we take pride in, and it creates a lot of offense for us.
How would you describe, Tony, the challenge Missouri presents?
They present a big challenge. If you look at their last 3 games, they're playing very well. I mean, they led at Texas A&M late in the second half. They led a lot of the game at South Carolina and played them close, a team that's been leading the league for most of the year. And they played Georgia well at home. And so you look at the last 3 games, they'll mix up their defenses. Man, been playing a lot of zone lately. And they have some guards. Wes Clark is one of the better guards in the league. And you got a senior center in Rossberg. He presents a challenge inside. And then their freshman pure year has been playing well. So it's going to be a difficult game like all games are in the league.
How well do you think that your players can appreciate that? You know what I mean? Missouri doesn't have a good record, obviously.
Obviously, it's a challenge with younger players. The consistency of not worrying who your opponent is, but just preparing to play your best. So we lean on our veteran players to bring it every night. I think Tyler's the guy who brings it every night and plays with a sense of urgency. And now just getting our freshmen to catch up to speed. That doesn't matter who you play. That with what we wear across our chest in Kentucky, everybody's going to bring their best. Well, he kind of twinged his ankle again yesterday, and so I haven't seen him today, so we'll see how he goes today. He said he was feeling better last night, so we'll see kind of how he progresses today in practice.
In your time, has there been another player like Tyler, in your experience, that brings the competitiveness consistently?
No. When you, especially given his size and the so-called disadvantage that brings for any player, like we always say, it's not how big you are, it's how big you play. And Tyler's one of those guys that looks in the mirror and he sees a guy that's about 6'10", 280 pounds. That's what he thinks he is. And that's how he plays. I mean, he doesn't see it at a disadvantage in any way, and that's a good trait to have. We wish more players had that.
Cal said that Jamal's starting to make more of those winning plays. How much has this season been a progression for him to this point?
It has. It's been a progression for all of our guys, not just Jamal. It's been a big learning curve for Isaiah. It's been a big learning curve for Charles. Obviously, a big learning curve for Scal. But Jamal was no different. Obviously, he's a very talented scorer in a lot of different ways. But just understanding time, score, when to go, when to slow it down, those things are a challenge for all young guys. And he's progressed as good as any of our freshmen.
How tough is it, Tony, when I'm assuming on the high school level and other levels, it worked, you know, the not worrying so much about time and score and so on. What makes it difficult to factor that in while you're playing?
Well, not only did it work, you were expected to do it at all times. And now when you're one of many, understanding timing, your role, when to do it, time, score, those things, you know, for a talented high school player sometimes don't come into your train of thought. But on this level, it's what the game is all about, especially at the guard position. You've got to know when you're an elite scorer like he is, sometimes in your mind you see it visually, I can score anytime. But understanding when it's that time to go, when it's that time to press, and when it's that time to let's move the ball a bit and get a better shot is difficult to understand, but he's learning very quickly.
You hear Cal talk all the time about that Super Bowl thing. As a guy who was on the other side of that not too long ago, how did you approach a game against Kentucky like this?
Yeah, there's no question it is. When you're preparing for Kentucky, this program has been on top of the league for a long time. And every team, you know, like Cal's always joked, when he'd come play us, or anybody in the league, it's T-shirt night, it's hat night, it's banner night, it's towel night. It's a big game for everybody in this league. And, you know, everybody wants to be the best. Everybody wants to be on top. And to do that, obviously, you've got to beat the program that's been the flagship of this conference for a long time.
Cal said that you don't have to match up for Scal against Vanderbilt. Does Missouri present a better matchup for Scal?
It's possible. It's possible. They don't have the, in terms of style of offense, it wasn't more so individual matchup, but in terms of the style of offense for matchup for Scal. So this should be a game where he could be more impactful.
Derek is playing a lot of minutes. Could you talk about the difference that he's made, what he's done, just the difference that's made for the team?
Well, it's made a huge difference for us as a team, and the biggest change is not that Derek has gotten the opportunity. The biggest change has been Derek has changed his mental approach to the game, and that's been the biggest change. And then, Coach, and as a staff, we saw it in practice. Now, all of a sudden, Derek deserves an opportunity to play because of his mental approach. And he would admit that he's been a little laissez-faire type attitude and approach to practice. And that, for some reason, we've been on him about it, and some reason it clicked about a month ago. He must have just told himself, I've got to change for this to work. And everything Coach asked him to do, from two-handed rebounding to playing tougher, there's no question what he can do for our offense, being a stretch four and really stretching out the floor. When you've got dynamic scoring and driving guards like we do, if you're playing with two bigs that clog the lane that people don't have to guard, it makes it hard then to create those driving opportunities. That's obviously what Derek's done for this team, is open up that lane for our guards. But at the same time, Derek made the change. He knew the expectations, and he finally has bought into them.
Worry at all about young guys maybe looking ahead to Kansas on Saturday?
Yeah, you can, but that's why you rely on your veterans and your focus and practice. There's been no talk of the next game around here, but it's kind of inevitable for younger guys to possibly look ahead, but we've got to focus on Missouri. I mean, that's the next game, and that's the biggest game on the schedule.
Is that another adjustment, Tony, that maybe on the lower levels, you could look ahead, you could turn on, turn off, and I've heard players talk about taking possessions off on the lower levels and not being able to do that at this.
Yeah, it's more so the maturity of the players. And you're talking freshmen. It's a consistency is always an issue with freshmen, not just from game to game or practice to practice, but possession to possession. And again, it goes back to those guys usually are so talented in high school that you can take every other possession off or every third possession off, and you'll still be okay because you're just good enough. At this level, you can't. The coaches are too good and the players are too good.